Frank just fell. We'll get him in a minute. Okay, right now. We are live on YouTube. How does Horror Syndicate do it? Do they do Zoom too, or what do they do?
They do. I'm forgetting what it's called. They used to do Zoom, I think. I can't remember what it's called, but it goes on YouTube and Facebook Live at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, I can't remember.
I was like, because they got theirs nice little setup.
Yeah.
We want to get to the point where we have crap around like the bordered our stuff and have the comments or whatever coming up, but on screen. But yeah, we're live. Thanks for joining. Jackson, you want to give him a little intro?
Yeah, hold up. I still gotta set this up.
Okay, he's still setting it up. We're new.
Right.
We're new.
Yeah,
but yeah, we're good. Okay, awesome. Take it away. Take it away. Yeah, he's still
good. Now we're good.
Should get more light.
Right. So
I'm back. I was dark.
All right.
It sucks. I have to have my phone on so I can see the. Okay. All right.
All right. What's up, everybody? Today we have Nathan Thomas Milliner with us, writer, director of the brand new upcoming horror film On a Dark and Bloody Ground. Also known for Scream Factory, Fright Rags, Confession of Fred Krueger, countless other stuff, Horrorhound magazine. So yeah, what's up, Nathan? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
I've had a great day, man. I really had. Work was good. I finally got my Vincent Price lobby card framed, and it was cheap. And it was cheap, so yeah, I'm in a good mood, man.
I was just watching Vincent Price. We were watching Alice Cooper's The Nightmare from '75.
Okay,
doing his Black Widow piece.
So yeah, what's up, Nathan? How you doing?
Yeah. Okay. So we got Sarah in the chat, Courtney, Jacob, Horror Hour. What's up, everybody? But yeah, we do this little thing Jackson likes to do is show off the shirts.
Yeah,
he tries to do it every time.
Stream with showing off the shirts.
I think he wins today. He's got the coolest one.
Yeah. I think I won today.
It's
Return of the Jedi.
Oh,
no, I don't think anybody else has a Robot Monster shirt, so
I wouldn't think. Maybe there's a director.
It's probably dead. But so yeah, today we're going to be discussing On a Dark and Bloody Ground. Me and Hunter both had the wonderful experience of being on set and being a part. More Hunter than me, but it was still an amazing time. Nathan, if you would like to give a little brief summary of what it's about.
Well, it's a what?
As I say, I know it's on the spot.
Yeah, it's a film about rural Kentucky and the mythology of Kentucky, and I wanted to make a movie. I've always wanted to make a movie about rural Kentucky because our family comes from originally my dad's side, Grayson County, Kentucky. And I would visit there every once in a while when I was a kid to see my great grandfather and my aunt Pat and her kids. And coming from the suburbs of Louisville, it was extremely different to be down there. And I'd spend the night. And Pat had a little house on a crossroads, and there was nothing around there but like just open country and tobacco fields and woods and things. And I grew up in the 80s when I was watching like Stephen King movies and seeing like Children of the Corn and things like that. So it always gave me those vibes of that. So when I would go down there, and I remember we were camping one time on Uncle Leslie's land, who lived down there. and we were camped out by a cornfield. I remember Uncle Mark and Dad chanting "Children of the Corn" as the movie had come out. It's like, I guess, 1984, and scaring the crap out of me, And so I always said I want to make a movie about that. And my cousins Cass and James had used to scare me with stories, like like older cousins do, like campfire type stories, boogeyman stories, ghost stories. And so I always held those stories that they would tell me with me, and I wrote a lot of short stories in college. And so I always had them in my back pocket. So when the Dark and Bloody Ground came about, we had done the Volumes of Blood movie, and they wanted to make a sequel, and it was open to do whatever I wanted. So I decided to write this, and I took one of the stories I wrote in college and combined it with another one. And once I wrote that, I was like, I don't want to waste this on an anthology. It felt like it was a third act of a bigger film. So I decided to make it a feature, because I hadn't made a feature since 2011. And so I kind of combined that and a bunch of those old stories that my cousins had scared me with, and just made a love letter to like Stephen King and Steven Spielberg, like, and just growing up in the 1980s in small town Kentucky. I didn't grow up in small town Kentucky, but just that atmosphere of that. And also a movie about men and fatherhood. And so I know that's not like a synopsis of the film. I mean, the film at its core is about a small town in Kentucky where some deaths are happening, some killings, and they don't know what's causing it. And the local sheriff is trying to, of course, solve it and save his people. A father who loses one of his children is trying to find resolution, and he's out there hunting, trying to find out what it is. And it's just this kind of whodunit unfolding, finding the mystery. There's an urban legend around town that people don't talk about, that outsiders don't know about. And it's like this old-fashioned. I just miss the way Stephen King would write these small town USA movie books and horror stories. Is the kind of stories that you would have read in EC Comics, or before the slasher thing, before all, like, just good old-fashioned folklore ghost story stuff. So that's I don't like to give away the movies, so
right,
but that's
it makes sense.
Where it lives.
Yeah. So, we are related. And so I do know what you're taught, like, out in Grayson County, where Cass and Pat and all of them live. And you definitely get this vibe from that movie. I mean, some of it actually is filmed over there. So, and
we shot it. We shot at my grandmother's house before they sold it. My grandparents moved down there in 1990. They had moved from Grayson County to Louisville to raise their family and work and everything. And then around 1990, they decided to move back down there, and they bought a house. And I remember moving them in. I was 14. And, my grandfather passed away. And, my parents took my grandmother in, and they decided to sell the house. But before they sold the house, we did get to have, we did get to shoot there with Hunter. Hunter is in, his scenes are at the house. Jackson was there at that shoot.
Jackson.
Yeah.
So what? Yeah. So I was like, so it was literally my birthday. My 18th birthday, I worked all day, and I had to drive like 45 minutes out to go shoot. And, I didn't know what going in, what to expect. Cause I was like, I've never really been on a movie set, like film set. I didn't know like what things to do. Cause it was literally like, he asked me like maybe a week or two before if I was interested, or maybe, I don't know how long it was, but it was very long before. And I was like,
quick.
Yeah, sure. It was very quick. And we like got the costume, got the mat, like everything fitted real quick. And so I went there with no expectations, but to me, I'm gonna be in my horror film. That's like what my head was. I was like, oh, it's like rush out of work, rush down there, it was late, and we did the whole bedroom scene, which I'm not gonna say nothing about, but it was one of the coolest and like my first like view of how filmmaking works. Like multiple shots of the same thing at a different place consistently. And the thing about this movie and this cast, being around it myself, I think I never knew how much of a family that this could create. You know, you always hear about, all these film and TV like common family, but you don't really realize it until you actually are a part of it. These, like, we had somebody get COVID, which was very hard. And he almost passed from it. The support from these people, and still to this day, before, like, even like during this movie, and I guarantee after this movie, we'll always have that connection with each other. We spent a lot of time together. Especially you. I mean, how long did it work? How long was this movie, like, completely from start to finish? Or it's not even finished yet, if that tells y'all anything.
Yeah, it's still, we're in post right now. So yeah, like, well, the way you got involved that week was, we started casting the film in 2018, and then in the summer, because I wanted to film it in the fall because it's a fall film, and it was just it's a huge film. It's huge cast, lots of locations. It's set in 1986, which means you got to be accurate with the sets and the costumes and everything. So it was a huge, ambitious film, and I realized I wasn't going to make the fall. We weren't going to be ready, so we put it on hold for a year, and we went and finished that Star Wars film that was still kind of unfinished at the time. And then after we got done with Star Wars, it premiered in March of 2019. We started working on this again, and we actually recast again. We had some people who we still had from the previous auditions, but we started recasting because we still had at least 50% of the film uncast. And so we started doing casting sessions. And the part, I had cast you and your brother Jacob to play two brothers in the film, the Childers brothers.
That's what Jacob said in the chat. Kenny Childers in the house.
Jacob said in the chat, Childers in his house.
So we were going to have you guys do that. And what happened was we had cast the other character you played, you're talking about, is a character named Lost John. Lost John and Little Alice are two characters. They're named after mummies. There have been mummies found in Kentucky, and those are what they called them. So I gave the names to these two characters. But Lost John's one on the poster with the sack head mask on, and I had cast Barbie Clark's son in the part, and Barbie was our costume designer. She played Maddie Falk. Her daughter played Little Alice, and her son was going to play Lost John. But when we shut down for COVID in 2020, March 2020, we didn't know we were off for 7 months, and I didn't know what was going to happen. And in that time, her son enlisted in the Marines. So
I'll do it.
So yeah, her son went off to be a soldier. So I needed someone else, and I thought about it, and I almost asked Jacob first. Oh, sorry, Jacob, I almost asked you first, because Jacob was more physically like the character. The character was kind of supposed to be, kind of string bean, scrawny kind of kid, and I just said, you know what, Hunter is a super, super big horror fan, and I think he would really be into playing a kind of a sociopathic masked killer character, and because he's wearing a mask the whole time, I could have you play both roles still. So I just thought you would be more into it, and so yeah, I offered it to you, and they said it was a last minute thing and that's how it is. Like, you're like, you say it was their experience on a film set. But it was also like truly guerrilla, because it was I think it may have been the first day we returned after COVID.
It was.
Yeah. So
it was.
We decided to cut down on everything. So I think the crew was me and Ken.
It was Ken. Me
and Ken, and anybody who was there. So Barbie was acting.
I remember.
Barbie was acting, so she was also.
We had multiple people doing different things. We had I remember I had no clue, and I was over here holding the I can't think what it's called. The I can't think off the top of my head. The gold which side reflects the bounce. And then I remember Jackson was there whenever he came. He was doing audio, so it was like one of those things. Like anybody that could help. I think even Dad helped do something. Like even it was all because you said you cut down for everybody's safety, and so we had very minimum people there. So
we wanted to make the days. We want to make the days shorter, so we were shooting like 5-6 hour days at the most, and we wanted to have the smallest crew possible. So we didn't have a lot of people standing around. We didn't have a lot of people in the rooms. Everybody had to wear a mask unless you were an actor. And even in the early days, I think you were there in the garage scene. We had Spencer playing the little boy, and Barbie playing the mother. And the scene is the mother's holding her son, and we just had to change the way we would shoot, because normally I would have shot it with both of them instead, but because it was COVID and we were trying to be safe, we shot Barbie with Spencer had his mask on, and then we shot Spencer with Barbie with her mask on, so no one was in contact with each other without one of them at least wearing a mask. And you had to change the way you would shoot the film. And it was a scary time, because when COVID came, I didn't know where the movie would go, because we shot 30% of it, and no one knew what was going on with COVID. And I had kids who were in the movie who were in that puberty age, and I was like, oh gosh, they're all going to change. They're all going to grow up. Their voices are going to change. And luckily, Hunter Waddle, who played one of the leads, Tommy, didn't grow much, thankfully. Yeah. But his co-star, who we did shoot out before COVID, Jameson Blair, who's basically playing my cousin James, a young version of him. Jameson we shot him out before COVID, but during the whole break, his voice dropped, and he went from talking like a kid to a man. So, but luckily we had gotten him before he grew a foot, But yeah, you definitely get a family atmosphere. It's a great thing. It's also a hard thing, because you can't always have everybody on every film, kind of thing. People get busy, or you don't have a part for this person. Like this movie, we had 50 actors or something like that, 50 actors. So my next movie will need 10 actors. So I'm not gonna be able to bring all 40 of the other ones back. So that's it's like, I guess Ken kind of explained, it's kind of like summer camp. You go out, you hang out with all these people, you get really close for 3 months, and then you may never see them again, and you will, but you grow apart. But then then again, that's kind of how the film community is. You meet all these other people. I know so many actors that I haven't worked with yet, or I know, crew people I haven't worked with, but we know each other, and it's really about, you get to know the people, and then you figure out, okay, I need this, and this person's really exceptional at that, or this person will be perfect in that role. Like you worked with Warren Ray, who plays Ed in the movie, and Warren, I had met probably 5 years before I finally worked with him, but we had this mutual respect, and I'd seen a film he had done, and he liked my work, and I was doing Volumes of Blood 2, and one of the actors I had cast in the part he was a musician. So Warren's a musician, but this guy was a musician, and he was on tour when we finally got around to shooting, so he couldn't do it. And I thought, well, hell, Warren's perfect for this part.
He really was, man. I remember seeing it for the first Murder Death Killer, and if you watch it, it might be on YouTube. I'm not sure. If you do get,
I think it's on something. It's streaming somewhere.
On Tubi or whatever. The whole Volumes of Blood movie or whatever. So, but this
horror stories.
Yeah. This I remember, this was one of the first shorts movies he did, or films he did, and I was really, not that I wasn't impressed with all, but these ones like Barbie and Warren together, like their chemistry was so good. And Warren really stood out to me, like his his dialect and the way he delivered stuff, and his demeanor, like he's really cool guy outside of the film, or outside of, he's really appreciative, he's really helpful.
Yeah, that's something that I really noticed while I was there on set, the few times that I were. Warren was really good. You know, it was fun watching him act. It was fun watching everybody act. It was just a really fun time, because that was like one of my goals, like dreams, bucket list kind of thing, is to be in a horror movie. And like, so it was
member number 4 right here.
Yeah, cult member number 4.
Cult member number 4. Hey,
yeah, so it was
every part matters.
A lot of fun.
If you weren't there, we would have had only 5 of us.
Exactly.
Right. It wouldn't have looked right. It would look stupid.
That's right.
I would have had to throw the sheet on.
and then he was 6'3", and all of us, my family was all there short as hell, and then he's up there 8 foot tall. It wouldn't have looked right. It wouldn't have looked right, man. But here, so let's catch up on these chats real quick.
Sarah,
what's up, Sarah?
The premise. Ashlyn says hi, Hunter, and hi, Jackson. LOL.
Hey, Ashlyn.
What's up? I see Xander Harris in the trailer.
Nicholas Brendan. She watched Buffy. So
yeah.
Nicholas Brendan. Yeah, that was interesting. Nicholas, we were doing auditions, and Ken called me into the hallway, and he said, "Are you interested in Nicholas Brendan?" Now, I didn't watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I'd seen the film, but I really didn't know the show. But I knew him by his face, and I'd seen a couple episodes, but I didn't know him by name. So first I was like, "Who's Nicholas Brendan?" And he goes, "From Buffy." And I'm like, and he showed me the pictures. "Oh yeah, that guy." Okay. I said, "Why?" And he said, "Well, his people are just asked if we're interested in." I'm like, "What, really?" So I said, "Well, sure," and so he came to the building in Shelbyville and hung out with us for 4 hours, and we talked about the project. And Nicholas is like Robin Williams. I mean, he is so funny, and he is always on. And for 4 hours, my ribs were killing me because I was laughing the whole time. And he's just all bouncing off the walls, but super, super talented. He's a writer. He's one of the most talented people I've met. And we read together. He read for Pete, one of the leads, the father. And he went from being Robin Williams, all of a sudden being this very dark, dramatic, this role, and I was like, wow. But like, what happened was when we started to decide who we were going to cast, we realized we wouldn't be able to have Nicholas as much as we needed him for Pete. But I said, there's a part in the film of a coroner, Philip, who is kind of a comic relief in the film. And the thing is, like, while Nicholas was good in the dramatic part, I was like, if I don't cast this guy as the comic relief, I'm making a mistake. Because this guy will take what I've written and make it really funny, but he'll also be able to throw out all kinds of ad-libs and really. And to put him across from Jason Hayes, who plays the sheriff, who's kind of straight man, this kind of slow Grayson County tough guy. It put Nicholas Brendan, who plays this very funny, intellectual, book smart, book nerd type guy, across from him. It was really fun. It was a lot of fun. We shot with Nicholas for 2 days, and he was so cool. We had Barbie and Tessa and Autumn were huge Xander fans, and he took photos with them, and he signed autographs with them. And the coolest thing was, and I wish I had seen Buffy at the time, but Tessa, who plays Jean James in the movie, who's I think 18, 19 at the time, she was so nervous the whole time before he got there. Like, she was getting real red and just total nerves. And but he did something really cool for her that last day. The musical episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. We went to the theater, and the two of them performed that scene together. So she got to perform that musical number with Nicholas from Buffy together. And we got it on tape, and it was really cool. It was like, that was sweet. You know, it was a really sweet moment. So, I mean, again, it was, you know, we all had dinner together. It was a very family oriented thing. It was really cool to work with Nicholas, who was kind of like maybe my first celebrity to work with. But he was really impressed with what we were doing. And, yeah, it was fun to work with him and collaborate with him and to watch. I mean, this was like Jason's first day, I think, on set. And, Jason really enjoyed working with him, watching them two go back and forth. Yeah, so I've probably got tons of footage of those two together that were going on Blu-ray or DVD.
Yeah,
of stuff we couldn't use, but
that's something that I also wanted to talk about. Jason Hayes, you know, he's so cool. He was really chill to talk to, and he's like so perfect for the role, you know, for his character.
He really is something else. Like, he's one of the coolest, like, fun. He genuinely, like, not like, he's genuinely funny, and like, I got to see that firsthand, on screen and off screen. Like, and he could tell you that when we were filming with him, it took longer than it needed to, but it was just, it's like, he's very, like you say, he doesn't break. That's the best part about it. Cause like, you're sitting there and he says something and he just keeps like, and then like off screen watching him is even great. Like, his like facial expressions are really great. And I remember that the first time, again, down at Memos and Pepples when we filmed, and that was the first time I saw him. I remember the scene. It was him down the hallway at the door, and he looks back, and I'm like, holy shit. I was like, this is awesome. I was like, this is for real. But then he talked to me, and he had this gun, and he kept talking about this gun. And he was just like, it's a nice gun. What kind of build? And my dad and him started talking about it. Like he really like those Southern people really are like just so easy to talk to, and like make you feel like, that's the great thing. And he was just great with everybody, and he really was committed too. Like you said, he was over 70% of the film.
Yeah, Jason understood what an important part this was, and it was. And you know, I'm not tooting any horns here. Like, I think because he really kept saying that, he's like, because he would get other offers while we were filming it, because this took 2 years to make because of COVID and everything else. And he would call me up and say, hey, I got this other offer. And he goes, but you just tell me, man, because this takes precedent over everything. Like, he really put this thing on top of everything. And I would tell him, no, I can schedule another day. I don't want you to miss out on opportunities. I never want anybody to miss an opportunity. So if I could work him out to do another project, I said, you know, you're cool. Go do that. We'll shoot something else, you know. But he was always like very humble, very appreciative. He was a heaven sent, because we could not find the sheriff. Like, my original idea of the sheriff, he was inspired by my grandfather, and Jason doesn't really look anything like my grandfather. I pictured this kind of big, you know, kind of strong, sturdy, stout guy. I think Brian Cox was my idea of like who I would cast if I could have cast anybody as Leslie. And so we were getting all these actors coming in reading for the sheriff, and I just didn't believe any of them. It's really all about believing. Like, and you got to believe them, but you also got to feel that they can carry a movie. Are people going to want to watch this guy for 2 hours? So sometimes you get people who are good, but you're like, I don't really find them that interesting. Or they just don't have the it factor kind of thing. So Jason came in to read for the deputy. I had no idea who he was. He came in to read for deputies. I remember he had red Chuck Taylors on. You know, he didn't look like he came from Grayson County. You know,
He's a very well dressed
And
man.
he comes in, he's a very well dressed guy. He's very classy.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't think.
Yeah, and he comes in and he's reading for the deputy. And my first thing is, well, he's too old for the deputy, because the deputy's supposed to be like 25 or so. Jason was about 45 at the time, 46. And all right, so I was reading with the actors, and we started reading. That morning, we're like, God, where are we going to find this sheriff? Like, we had been casting for weeks, and nobody. There wasn't even a backup. There was like, we don't have anybody. And Jason started reading with me as the deputy, and I think he got maybe 2 lines in when I went, wait. And I looked over at Ken, and Ken's like, you thinking what I'm thinking? I'm like, yeah. He said, go for it. So I pull out the sheriff stuff, and I say, I want you to read this part. And he says, what's that? And I say, it's the sheriff. But he didn't know that was a lead. He didn't know what that was. So, he's kind of caught off guard. So we gave him about 10, 15 minutes to kind of look at it over, because it was a slow day. There wasn't anybody waiting to read. And so we let him read. We went in the hallway and talked. And I come back, I read with him, and he just stole it. Like, it was like, holy shit. And he was I believed him, first of all. I believed what he said. The scene that I had the sheriff read starts off as a tender scene, very maternal scene, and then it turns into an aggressive, I'm gonna kick your butt kind of scene with the boyfriend, or the character plays your cousin in the movie. And so I said, wow, this guy's got it. He's got the looks, he's got the charisma, he's got power, he's got tenderness, got warmth. And in person, he was just a delightful person, And when I told him, I was like, I said, I feel really good about this. I think you're in the lead for this part. And he said, oh, yeah. I said, yeah, this is the lead role. And he said, really? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, this is exciting,
Really?
And he had the Grayson County accent, which was like, that's what this movie's based upon, and no one in this movie sounds like that. Like, I wish everybody sounded like Jason Hayes in the movie. And so, he's kind of got, it's kind of like a mix between like Clint Eastwood, Tommy Lee Jones, and Andy Griffith.
Yeah, that's something that I noticed when I first saw him, is the Clint Eastwood vibes,
It's just, it's just that he's very straight, very like serious looking in the face. And you really do believe what he's saying. And so I think that's what makes him so great.
I think he's going to turn heads. I think he's going to get a lot of work after this. And I really do, because I think I think he knows it too. And again, I would always thank him. He was always there. I mean, anytime I needed him to shoot, I think there was only one day where he told me I can't because he had something else. But he was always there, always ready to go. And every day I would tell him, I appreciate you. And he said, I love it. I love it. I'll do it. Because I'm so appreciative of you, Ken. And, that night we worked where you were freezing out there. We could talk about that a little bit. That really horrible night at the drive-in where it's like 15 degrees. And I said, I saw your arm shaking, Jason. Your arm was holding the car door and it was shaking, and I felt awful.
It was awful.
He goes, I'd have done it.
Awful.
He's like, I'd have done it again, man. He goes, I love it. I love this part. I love you guys. So yeah, I can't say enough about everybody on the film, really, but Jason to be the guy who we really needed to depend on, because again, he's in 75% of this movie. To have someone that committed and that easygoing and just wonderful to be around too. I'm really big on surrounding ourselves with good people, not just talented people, because there's talented people everywhere. I mean, there's no reason to put up with ego and attitude. And a lot of independent films, especially, I hear nothing but drama all the time. And, Derek came on the set and he said it was like one of the first sets he's ever been on that had no drama. And I thought, really? I don't understand it. But again, you get actors come in and you get people who've done a lot, and got people who've done a little, and the people who've done little are kind of hungrier for it, and they're just as good, and you're like, they're going to appreciate it more. Like we had a actress, Robin, who came in the movie, who had gone off to California when she was a teenager to be an actress. Like, she was really good, and she was going to a prestigious school out there in Los Angeles, but her nerves, her anxiety got the better of her, and she decided to walk away from it. And when she saw our auditions, she hadn't done it in 25 years, but she saw our auditions. She came in and she read, and she blew us away. We didn't know her story. We didn't know all that, but I read with her, and it was me and Alex and Ken were reading that day. And as soon as she left out, we were all three like, I think we found her. I think we found, May. And, it was a dream come true for her. Like, she had walked away from this 25 years ago, and now she was doing it, and she earned it. Like, she was amazing. I totally believed her, and we just all knew it was the right person for it. And so to give people that chance and to be able to see that in them, I like working with people who've never done it before. I really do. I like working with people who, some people, they're not, they don't have it in them, but there are some people you think I can pull that out of them. And again, this goes back to believability. Like, do I believe, you've met Don, didn't you? Don West, did you meet him? He was in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Don was a, retired Army tanker in 501st, dressing up like stormtroopers and all that. We were doing that Star Wars fan film, and we were casting for a grunt, and I had a lot of actors come in trying to be that hardened grunt sergeant, military guy, and I didn't believe anybody. And I pictured like a big brutish guy, big, tough, scary dude. And Don is, a little short guy, but he was a drill sergeant. He was a real authentic tanker, fought in Afghanistan, all that stuff. And you can see it in their eyes, when you see somebody who's really seen action and really been through it, you can see it in his eye. And he had the eyes, and he got up there and read. We made him read. He goes, "Get up there and read, Don." Because there was a little personality in Don. There was something about him that stood out from the group of guys. And get up there and read. And he read. He was stiff, he never acted before. He was there was stiff, but I believed him. It was something in the eyes, or something in the way he carried himself, the way he looked. I said, I give this guy a little bit of action or direction, give him a little training, and I think he can do it. And truthfully, when he got on set, in the gear, out in the field, in the war, like in the moment, he fell right into it naturally because he'd seen it for real. He'd done it. Like, he was just living.
Not to cut you off, but that's why I think I like transitioned into it so easily, because I don't think many people, it's weird to compare, but because I'm from sports, and so I grew up playing it, yeah. And I think film and sports are very, very similar in my mind. A very good analogy would be, the coach is the director, and he has his players and his cast. He's really trying to get all of them to coherently work together the end goal is to win or make a good movie. You have your lead or whatever, shortstop, pitcher, whatever. But, you see potential in people, and your job as a coach and director is to bring out that potential to help the other people around and to help your ultimate goal, whatever. And I think, that really helped me, stay focused, because I played the whole time, or played my whole life. So, and I really wanted to be good. I didn't want to suck. Like, I didn't want to like ruin. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm like taking way too long, whatever.
We could see that you were serious about it. You really wanted to do a good job, and we could see that. And that's the kind of people you want around you. You picked up. You were. Go ahead.
That's how I felt too. Even though, like, I'm a cult member, but I still felt like I had to do my best. I had to be the role player, I was laying in that garage for 4 hours if I have to. You know what I'm saying?
It was hot. It was hot, dude. It was, oh my God. But one thing I wanted to point out about this movie, and probably not many people will like. She's not on the screen, but one of the things that stood out to me, like behind the screen and behind everything, was Autumn. If you don't know who Autumn is, she was a special effects or not special effects art special whatever artist.
Makeup.
She was makeup artist. She did. I mean, she has so many titles because I mean she literally was there. If you want to talk about her, you can, because I know you spent a lot more time with her. But from when I was there, she was the nicest, the coolest. Every time I had to, get makeup done, she always made me feel comfortable. She really is a rock star. She was really sweet. She stood out there and bared with everybody, even when she wasn't really needed. But she still went out there because she wanted to help and knew y'all needed it. And, you could talk more about her. But I'm just saying from my point of view,
I want to hear your perspective.
She was a rock star. That's the kind of, again, that's what I'm a big believer in that. Cause I always said, if I always made a film and I had someone like that, it would be tremendous. You won't, it's nice to work with, bigger names, but surrounding yourself with people that actually want to be there and make something good and not just there to, promote themselves or, and her, she was a great example of that, and I think, firsthand how great she is.
Yeah. Autumn was one of the first people I ever met in the film world. I was in a movie called Dead Moon Rising back in 2006, 2005. It was a zombie movie that was made in Louisville. And she was the head makeup artist on that. And I got to meet her there and we became friends. We weren't working together. We weren't close. But then when I did Wish for the Dead, she was working with Dusty June and her team, and they came out for a day. So I got to work with Autumn that day, but I was really busy. I had a whole set, so I didn't really get to work with Autumn. But Autumn was one of those people who's just been involved in the film community in Louisville and in the area for 15 years or more. And everybody here knows her and everybody loves her because she is who she is. That's how she's just a giving, sweet human being. And she worked on the Star Wars film, and when I was getting ready to make this movie, I met up with her at a coffee shop and I just told her about the project and I said, I'd love to have you on here as my makeup artist. And Ken loved her. He knows her forever. So it was kind of a no-brainer. But yeah, she was one of the first people I talked to. And like you said, she will be there whether you need makeup or not. And whatever is needed, she'll do it. And it's very good to have a woman on set like that because you always make everybody comfortable. So if I need someone to take care of an actress or something like that, it's like, hey, Autumn, can you take care of so and so? And those things like that. So, but Autumn is, she meant so much to us on this film that we've made her co-producer of the film because how could we not? It really became the three-headed monster of me and Ken and Autumn. Really, Autumn only missed one day. I would call her and say, sometimes I would get to the point where I'd feel bad, I didn't ask you, are you available this weekend? She goes, oh, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. So to show up and to be there, like you said, through all that cold weather or hot weather or whatever it took, and to, never complain, never anything. She's just there being Autumn 100% the whole time, and yeah, I mean, I think you'd have a hard time finding people in this town who've worked with her who don't like her or just love her, because she's easily one of the most lovable, likable people, and again, just giving and she amazes me really. And I would love to, her. Barbie's another one like that.
I was about to say Barbie was really, really cool.
And Barbie would be here if she could. Barbie lives in Paducah, so she's fairly far away from here. So, but she loves working on my films, and I love working with her. She was one of the first people. She's our costume person, but she also acted in it. But yeah, if I could have a million Barbies and Autumns, and then I can't. If I'm going to talk about my crew and my MVPs, I can't not talk about the Waddle family either. Who we cast their daughter and then we cast their son because they were both perfect. And then they just showed up, and they were big horror movie fans like you guys. They wanted to work, just wanted to be around it. It was a dream come true just to be on a movie set for them. And they were just hardworking, salt of the earth people who just genuinely loved being around it, to the point where, like, even when we didn't need anybody, they were like, "Hey, you need any help this weekend?" Well, yeah. So they were like, "Anytime you need anything, you need us to come, we'll come, and we'll move lights, and we'll move equipment, we'll do whatever needs to be done." So they became our crew.
It's a lot more work. It's a lot more
Yeah.
work than people think. It takes a village.
yeah.
Like if it was
yeah.
just Nathan and Ken by themselves shooting the actors, it would take forever. Like
Yeah.
it wouldn't even be, we joke about the trailer when it just says soon. But like it wouldn't be soon. It'd be maybe. It'd be
Maybe,
like,
yeah.
we'll see, or something.
We'll see.
Yeah.
It's so much work to do, make a film.
Yeah.
One question I know we wanted to ask. So you made films before, not with as big as a cast. So, you made Girl Number 3. You've made A Wish for the Dead, The Volumes of Blood, Encyclopedia Santanica, or was it the Murder Death Killer, Sinner, or was it Sinners Here? Fear for Sinners Here.
Sinners Here, yeah.
Yeah, and Confession. You've had these small crews, or not small, but like a small cast, small group of people to help. How is this one? How was the adjustment to going from like your last one to, like you said, 50 cast members, along with this worldwide pandemic, which literally didn't help anything at all. How was going from that group to this group?
With a film like this, with so many characters and so many locations, you have to compartmentalize everything, kind of, because if you start looking at the whole thing, you're going to get overwhelmed. So it's like anything. Like, I'm an artist, so it's just, that's been a real interesting thing about being a filmmaker. I started out as an artist, and when I was an artist or comic book artist, I was on my own. I did everything. I did the drawing, I did the writing, I did the inking, the coloring, lettering. So when you have to turn it over to other people, it gets a little scary. You have to trust people. So that's why you want to surround yourself with people that you trust and who get you. I'm always going to be very, very involved in every single detail of it, because this is how I am. Like I know what I want.
It's your project. I don't know how any other director couldn't.
Some do, but you just have to look at it. You almost, and especially with this film, like, all right, these are little films. Like the last thing we shot was the opening of the film. And the opening of the film takes place in the 30s. So I knew none of those other actors are in the film. They're just in that scene. And the locations are totally different. So I saved that for last, because, I want to get my actors in and out. I don't want them. I hated having to keep people around for so long, because it's a commitment, and they feel obligated to it. And I always feel guilty for it. So that was the hardest thing with this movie, because of COVID and because of the nature of it and how much work, when you're having to create whole sets that are set in 1986 and find costumes. And I'm doing a lot of the work. I was one out there buying the furniture and buying the costumes and buying the props and making the stuff. And occasionally I'd have help, but a lot of times I was doing that, and I was storyboarding, and I was working out the blocking, and I was communicating and making the schedules and contacting the actors and contacting the crew and getting everybody together. So I'm always worried about everybody's time, but some people, I always take I guess I make a mistake that people aren't there because they want to be there. Like Chad Zigman, who plays Pete in the movie, was talking to me. Chad's, living in Atlanta. He's working on big movies. He just was a stand-in for Pierce Brosnan on the Eternals. he's a stunt guy. He's an actor. He's great. I love the guy. He's one of those other guys where he'll just do whatever you need. But he says, because I kept feeling guilty because he had to have a beard in the movie. So he had to keep having that beard. His wife didn't like the beard, and, he's out there working to do another work. And I kept telling him how sorry I was it was taking long. And he kind of told me, Nate, he goes, I love you. And I want you to be happy with it. I'll do whatever it needs to be. Because I appreciate your attention to detail, and you know what you're doing, and you believe in it, and I want you to be happy. And he goes, and you really need to stop worrying about using other people's time. He goes, we're there because we want to be there, because we want to be there for you. And I always don't just assume that, I don't assume people are there because they want to be there for me. So I'm always conscious of other people's time and all that. But he's like, trust me, we're fine.
That's a very Milliner thing.
Yeah, it's like, we want you to be okay. Yeah, I mean, you know my mom. My mom is always take care of everybody else. So
I say,
I'm always worried about everybody else. And when they're like, no, we're here to take care of you too, Nate. You're our, like you said, I'm the captain of the team. I'm the coach, and like you said, it is true. Right. Like, you have to. It's my job to notice where someone fits, and that especially comes into casting, where you're looking at someone and you just know. I mean, it's really an instinct where, I've had actresses come in who I knew, who, like the Fear for Sinners here, one of the actresses who's in it, wanted to play the other part. And I said, I just don't see her as that part, but I see her in this part being amazing. So she read for the other part, and it was me. I was like, no, that's not it. But when she read the other part, I was like, holy crap, And the thing is, like, I think she wanted the other part, but when the movie came out, everybody was just talking about her because her performance was so good, and because it was so wild, it was so crazy. She got a lot of attention for it. But you have to know where someone's right, and directors are controlling the tone and the we know when something's right for our movie, when it's not. I was just watching The Making of Thriller with Lily. John Landis was talking to Ola Ray about, she goes, was I okay? It was okay. He goes, you were okay. He goes, you'll know if you're not okay. She's like, why? He goes, because I'll tell you you're not doing good, And so, but that's the other thing about that is, like, actors need feedback, and that's the hard part of directing is, my biggest fear when I first started directing was insulting the actors. Like, I didn't want to critique them, or I didn't want to offend them, right. Or step crossing the lines.
Like that would have to be hard without, like, how was it getting what you exactly wanted out of somebody without, like, trying to be a little, you know what I mean? Like,
it's like, I like what you did there, but let's try.
Yeah. There's ways to talk to people. Like, I think, who was it? I think it was Derek said it. He goes, when I worked with you for the first time, I said, this guy must have been a manager of something at some point. I thought Winn-Dixie, like the frozen food department, one time, and working with people. And he goes, I knew you had to. And when I did that, I learned how, people want to be respected and appreciated. They don't want to be barked at and ordered around. They want to feel like they want to, you want them to do it for you, and be happy to do it for you. So it all comes in how you treat people. And if you treat people correctly and you involve people, like with me, with actors, what the lesson I had to learn was they want to hear from you. They want to do well. They want to do good. And they want to know that you're happy with what you get. What they did. And every time I've worked with a really good actor, they'll say that, did you get what you wanted? Did you get what you wanted? So they want to please you. They want to give, because the thing is, it's all about trust. They have to trust you that you know what you're doing and that you're protecting them, because once they do their job, it's in your hands to take care of them. Because if you're a terrible filmmaker or a terrible editor or then they could be amazing, but the movie's not going to be good and they're going to look bad because you don't know what you're doing. And so if you're really involved in that collaboration, then that, to me, it makes them feel safer, because it's like, oh, this person cares and they know what they're doing. You know, if I'm talking to an actor and I could tell that they're thinking about it, that they're really trying to put effort into it, they've thought about it, they've made choices, which is what actors are supposed to do. They're supposed to really think about it, and they've made those choices. Then I know I'm good, I'm safe. And I don't, when you write, you hear it in your head, you know what you want, but you can't be married to that. You have to say, this person's really talented and I want to see what they do with it. And really, sometimes they'll surprise you. They'll make it better than you ever imagined. And you just say, to me, it's all about you. If you've talked to them, you've given them the script, and you got a good actor, they know from your script possibly what you're wanting. And then they make their own choices. And so you watch what they do. And your job really is to just watch and listen, because actors will get lost in the moment. They'll do things they don't realize they're doing because they're living it. If they're really doing what they're supposed to, they're feeling it. They're there. They're not consciously aware of everything they're doing. Some of them are. Some of them can do. You know, everybody's different, and you have to really understand each actor and how they work and what they need and what they don't do.
Jason said the F word about 100 times when I was on set. I can't imagine what he was on the whole entire time. Like you have to be, and you have to be like, hey, Jason, your character can't be dropping F-bomb every 5 seconds. Like, that's not good for him. He's not. This is not Tony Montana. This is Sandy Griffith. Okay, you know. So you really have to. I think someone said that the director is the protector of tone, and that really is what it is. Like, when someone's going way off the rails, I think David Fincher kind of described it like you're kind of God floating above the train, you know, and you're watching, and the train can sway, but you got to keep it from going off the tracks. So you just nudge them there, and like you said, you make suggestions. If something's not working, you don't go, that sucks, don't do it that way. You just say, what if we did it this way? Your job is also to throw ideas, to throw suggestions their way. What if you're thinking this? Or what if you're feeling that? Or what do you think they're thinking? And you have to really, the director needs to do just the same homework the actor does. You have to know those characters and why they would make these choices and why they're doing this and what their motivation is and what their behavior. Every writer should know that about their characters. Every director should know that about the characters. The actors should know that about the characters. Every line matters. When you're watching a film, it just drives me nuts when people talk or walk out of the room like, oh, everything matters. It wouldn't be here if it's not important for you to know. And you see people, I didn't catch it, I didn't follow. It's like, didn't you see in scene 2 they said this? Like, that's why you're confused. You didn't hear it because you were looking at your phone or something, you know. So everything matters. And so, you know, working with actors, that's the gift of it, because you've got in your head, but you watch an actor and you've cast them because you know they're that good, and they'll do something. And the best is when you're watching them and you just forget you're directing a movie. Like when I was doing Confession of Fred Krueger, there were times where I was watching Kevin playing Freddy, and I would forget I was on a set. I was like intrigued by him and like lost, you know, like you don't even say cut because you're so like, oh, yeah, go on, you know. What happened?
And those are really fun moments. And then you get those moments where, you know, you're watching something and you're feeling it and you're crying because it's just real, and they tapped into the emotion and making movies is really rewarding. It's like my favorite thing to do, and it sucks that it's taken 2 years to make the movie, but I got to make a movie for 2 years, and it was fun to be on set because I really missed it. You know, anytime I've got all these friends who make movies, and every time I see them pictures on set, I'm like, damn it, because the thing about directors is we don't get to make as many movies as actors do and the crew people do. Like Samuel L. Jackson said, the person with the least experience on a movie set is the director, because actors, crew people, they may make 5-10 movies a year, but a director may make 5 movies their whole career, you know. So when I make a movie, like, yeah, we've taken 2 years to shoot this thing and we're in post, but I wrote it in 2015, and I wrote it from 2015 to 2019, 4 years before we started shooting. So I lived with this film for almost a decade, and I've been there for every moment of it, every second of it. And I've made, short films in between. I made like 4 or 5 short films, but I have to be dedicated to it, and I have to be involved in everything. And it's I didn't just show up for a day or two on set. I was there every day with this thing, for years. And so, yeah, that's the fun part of it. But it's also like, man, I wish, and that also makes me decide what I want to do and what I don't want to do, though, because some people are like, well, why are you taking so long in this movie? You can just pop them out. Like, no, I'm 45 years old. If I'm going to make movies, they have to matter to me. I'm not going to waste a year of my life making something that's not good. It has to be, I have to have made it. I have to believe in it and I have to love it. Because I've written whole scripts where I finished it and go, I don't want to make that. I don't love that anymore. Like, that's not, I don't want to dedicate another year of my life to that or 2 years of my life to that. So with Dark and Bloody, I had written 5 scripts. And Ken wanted to produce something, and I said, out of all these scripts, Dark and Bloody is the one I want to make the most, the one I'm willing to spend years making if I have to. And so that's the thing, and I knew that about you, both of you. You guys are sports guys, and you're about discipline and about critiques and bettering yourself and pushing yourself, because that's what artists do. The goal is not to win the ball game. The goal is to be the best player you can be. Did I do my best? I can't wait to get up to bat again and take another swing. I can't wait to get out there on that field and see what I can do and see what my team can do. And that's really the driving force. It's not about the fame and the money and all that. It's about, how do I make me and us better? And that when we leave the field, we know we did everything we could have done. We may not be famous or rich, or we may not be the champions, but we grew and we grew together, and we had a blast doing it, and we're proud of ourselves of what we've accomplished and where we've gotten. So I knew, that's how you would approach it. That you would approach it with that discipline, because it's really a discipline thing. People who don't have the discipline and the focus, I don't think they go very far.
Yeah, I know one thing from our short time of being filmmakers. Probably not to the extent of you, but
for sure.
Sorry. Being on set is one of like the most fun time, because you're seeing the movie piece by piece come together, and and when you're on there, and especially when you're like us, we had 4 people like total the whole time that's shooting this one part. And so we're sitting there, we film it, and it's like so fun. Everybody comes over, how'd it look? And I'm like, I think we could do it again. I was like, it looks awesome, but you I was like, put your shoes on tight. We're gonna have to do.
Yeah,
we keep doing it even time.
On our Curse of Jason fan film that we did, me, Hunter, and our other friend Trevin. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's still to this day, that's one of our favorite things that we've done.
And it's not good. It's not good, but it was so fun to make. It was so fun because we was our first movie. We put sound in, we put like music, and we actually tried to like do some kind of special effects. We had one bottle of Gatorade that was like this big, we used for blood, and we had to keep redoing it because we kept laughing. But that was on our
channel, and I think it just hit like 800 views or something, so that's cool. And people did enjoy it from what they said. So that's fun.
I had a guy at work. I had a guy at work who showed it to his daughter, and he said it made her day. And I remember feeling so happy that he said that. He was like, she was laughing her ass off. I was like, I don't think that was the goal, but you know what? I was like, they're getting some kind of emotion from it, and that's what's awesome. You know, and that's what I want to. That's what I don't really care about being like, if I was like, I want to be a filmmaker and do all this all kinds of stuff. You know, that's why I look up to you so much, and I really do. You're like like one of my best friends. Like when it comes to, you know, just this creativity and directing and filmmaking, not just that, just in life. You know, your advice for stuff. You know, I think you're one of those directors that, you know, is not really, you know, trying to get the best for you, which you are, but you're also very, you know, like you've said, you're very for the actors too. You know, like you said, because it's a Milliner thing. We're all about, you know, giving for other people and not really for us as much.
Yeah, I want them to be successful, and I want them to shine. And a lot of times directors and writers, people behind the camera, don't get any attention. They don't get the praise. They don't get the accolades. It's the actors who most people pay attention to. And I know that, and I'm fine with it. Like if one of my actors or two of my actors or 10 of my actors go on to get huge roles because of a film that they were in mind, that because, you know, a lot of these actors, they're just trying to build a reel to show people. And I've seen a lot of actors are, especially on the low level like this, they're at the mercy of us, because if filmmakers aren't making good films, then they're just starring in bad movies. And a lot of them do it just because they need the experience and they need the reel and they need the time. So I don't know how many actors I've seen send me their reel and they're good, but the reels are terrible because the films are terrible. Like the writing's bad, the filming's bad, the editing's bad. And you just feel like, geez, man, let me get my hands on this person, because I think I could give them what they need, you know, and so
yeah.
and
See,
together,
I can't wait to take my film reel of Cult Member Number 4 to Disney or Netflix or something.
Listen, I'm so sorry. He's watching Jason. He's watching Friday the 13th Part 7. I don't know if y'all heard that or not, but it was annoying this shit out of me. But yeah, sorry.
No, I was just saying how I can't wait to take my film reel of being Cult Member Number 4 to Netflix.
To new heights. Yeah,
it's just
you know
the
what?
beginning.
You know, if Martin Scorsese sees that movie, you could damn well be near what's it called? His new film. Flat.
Well, John Travolta was a cult member in The Devil's Reign, and they dubbed over his voice. So you know,
you never know.
You never know. Yeah. You could be the next John Travolta.
I said I could body double for, like, I don't know, Joe Pesci or something, or like Jonah Hill or something.
Something just, this is kind of off topic, but something that I wanted to talk about. We know you have to leave here in a little bit. Just wanted to ask, what have you been doing this October Halloween season to keep you in the spirit?
I've been real busy, so I've kind of started now. I've been watching the Halloween movies. I always watch the Halloween movies. But today I busted out a stack of stuff that I like to watch around this time of year. We watched the making of Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Awesome.
We were watching Alice Cooper's The Nightmare with Vincent Price, 75 special. I like to watch like Garfield's Haunted Adventure, and
that's one of my mom's favorites.
The Roseanne episodes. Yeah, I gotta watch the Roseanne stuff.
I remember those vividly.
Yeah, and there's I always watch the Freaks and Geeks Halloween episode. I always watch like Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the Disney short.
Yeah, Dad
and if Great Pumpkin,
very young age, and that's been a staple.
That always represented Halloween to me, because when I was in elementary school in the 80s, they would always show us the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the Ichabod and the Headless Horseman Disney short. And so that was always like, I got to see it every October at school. And, those things. And I was thinking like Thriller was one of those early, 1983, I was 7. And that was like, probably my introduction to zombies, and just horror. I just remember being obsessed with that. But I was a scaredy cat as a kid. I didn't like, in the 80s, Freddy and Jason and all that weren't really the face of Halloween. It was Dracula and Frankenstein's monster and the Mummy and the Wolfman. That was what you saw everywhere. And so I didn't really watch those movies as a kid because I just don't. I mean, my mom and dad were never into horror, and whatever. Basically, you were up to what was on TV, whatever was on the television, and you had 3 channels. It didn't have we didn't have endless channels, or we didn't have VHS tapes yet. So horror was just whatever was on. So like my early horror was Poltergeist and Twilight Zone, the movie, things like that, where they were more mainstream. Spielberg, Gremlins, Ghostbusters. But that's that. So when I get in the Halloween spirit, I like to kind of go back down that way and find. I like watching, like, you got The House on Haunted Hill. That's a great movie to watch this time of year.
Oh, yeah.
Just the atmosphere.
Real quick, like that is Halloween. The skeleton, Vincent Price, like everything about it.
Vincent Price himself, like, I always say he's the last true horror icon. People want to say, what about Robert? What about Bruce? Like, no, because Robert and Bruce are known for a character. Like, even though they've played multiple characters, Robert will die Freddy Krueger. Bruce will die as Ash Williams. Vincent Price is not locked down to a character.
He's Vincent Price. Yeah,
there's no. The closest icon he played was, maybe Dr. Fives, but that's probably not even his most popular stuff. So
exactly,
he was Vincent Price. Even Karloff, like Karloff could sell a movie on his name. Chaney could sell a movie off his name, but Karloff was always be the monster for most people.
Right.
But Vincent Price is Vincent Price, and like, it's just who he was. That voice, that laugh, was just,
he's a thriller,
so iconic.
Yeah.
That's,
I think maybe that might even be a lot known for, especially like that's the first time I know him from, is being
as a kid. That was
Thriller.
Yeah, the Thriller and Welcome to My Nightmare, Alice Cooper. Those, like, he was, and you'd hear the voice, or people would imitate his voice for horror, things. They do the Karloff lisp, or they would do like kind of a Peter Lorre. Peter Lorre's voice kind of became synonymous with horror. But yeah, those guys, we just don't have those guys who were just kind of themselves in some ways.
Yeah,
are horror.
Right. It was so cool because he had a certain type of like swagger to him, and he would always embrace being in a horror film too. Like, a very popular actor, like during that time, would like just be like, yeah, whatever, it's a horror film. But he loved the genre. So he's such a respectable, like, Shakespearean Renaissance type of man. I don't know how to describe it. He's
for a guy that started out as a serious actor, and did serious films, but like you said, to embrace it and not feel like, he just leaned into it, and he became the icon after Karloff and Bela and Chaney had run their course. Like, he pretty much owned the genre from the mid 50s to the 70s, as far as until that brand of horror kind of died out when stuff like Chainsaw and Last House and Exorcist came out. All of a sudden, that Dark Manor, Transylvania, brand of horror kind of was passe at that point. But he still, remained that icon even all the way up to his death. Edward Scissorhands. I adore Vincent a lot. So anything with Vincent Price at this time of year,
it's a must.
I know you want to have me on for your the old dark house. Just screams Halloween to me. And,
that's we've been geeking about that. So we've done the best of the decades, and we also did Halloween recommendations. And my Halloween recommendations, I did Old Dark House, Carrie, and The Strangers. We picked three, and those movies I think are great to watch for Halloween. But Old Dark House was also came back up on last episode. We did the best of the decades, the 30s, and I tell everybody like this is like one of the most I recommend so much. I think it's just one of the best horror films ever made. It like you said, it's very atmospherical and it's great. Like it's a very Halloween movie, really.
Yeah, the atmosphere is everything about that movie. Like you feel like you're there. It's like The Shining or something. Like you feel like you're
that
there.
is the quintessential Old Dark House, haunted house movie to me.
Yeah. People always talk about Rob Zombie's House of Thousand Corpses being chainsaw. I'm like, it's more Old Dark House than almost anything. That like it's Old Dark House, Spider Baby, and Chainsaw.
Mm-hmm.
I think we had a someone commented last one and was like, what's more iconic, or not iconic, but what was it? What do you think was more scary, or like?
Oh, they said, what is your favorite, or which one do you like more, the Old Dark House or the Overlook Hotel from The Shining? And I was like, well, they're
two different.
They're
beasts.
both like completely different. But me personally, I think I'll have to take Old Dark House just because that is like the classic, like gothic horror.
And I think I went over with the Overlook just because like I think the question was worded differently, but it was similar to it was something. But I think I remember picking that just because.
Well, the difference is gothic versus non-gothic, because The Shining's not really gothic as much, like because the hotel's lit and it's not in the dark. And it's the Old Dark House is that classic wind blowing through the curtains, the dark corridors. Kubrick was going against that. He purposely didn't want to do that with Shining, so he tried to distance himself from that on purpose. So yeah, and they're both effective, and I think it's probably definitely harder to do what Kubrick did.
Yeah,
because he's not relying on all that atmosphere, or there's atmosphere for days in The Shining, but it's a different type. That like when I made Encyclopedia Satanica, The Shining was kind of my guide, because I had this huge library as a set, and I had one actress in the library at night on Halloween night, and when I got the script and when I got the job, I drove to Owensboro. I said, I want to see your library. And we were shooting because all the films were taking place in the library. And my segment was last. And I said, I don't want them to be bored with the set by the time I get to it. So I went up there and I said, I want you to come with me, and I want you to tell me where everybody's shooting so that I don't use those locations. And I just went there to find visuals, what was interesting, looking at what I could make look frightening. And you could really use the space, because the original script, the guy that wrote it, I rewrote the script, but he kept everything at the desk. And I say, I got this library, man. I'm going to use this library. Like, you got this huge set. I'm going to use it. I'm having a chase scene. I'm having her move through the library. I want that steady cam and going around corners. If you're in the library, you've got just endless rows of who knows what's behind those rows, And so I really said, I'm going to treat the library as the character in the movie, and as the villain in the movie. And I think I was one of the only ones. I think I'm probably the only one that did in that movie. So mine stands out very much, not just for other reasons, but because I use the library. I use the place instead of making it about the people and the story. Like, we got access to this giant library. Let's use it, So, and that's to me what The Shining did. Like the Overlook is a character in that movie. And the location is important. And you really want to make the location a character if you can, especially in horror. That's what I missed about horror. When I did the Star Wars movie, I had fun and I learned a whole lot, but I missed atmosphere. I loved the stuff you do when you make a scary movie, the tension, the suspense, the building up, you just don't get it in a Star Wars movie unless you're making, a Mandalorian episode where you can do that, or you can say, all right, we're going to make a horror episode.
Right. But I know we're coming up short on time here. You got to leave here in a second. Just want to say thank you for being on the channel and talking with us about the new upcoming On a Dark and Bloody Ground movie. Very excited. I think it's going to turn a lot of heads.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people are excited for it, especially us too.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say. The link, we're going to put all the links down below for everything you have on YouTube. I know you have Confession
already
on there,
have the link
trailer
set up to the trailer.
Yeah,
so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for us you are very like an older brother. He's gonna be like the older brother he never had, but I mean, I would say I have an older brother, but they're different. But like really, like there was like I really do look up to you, and I know he does as much as because we really do love film and especially horror. Just film in general, like, and you're like the type of person that likes to help and give back and teach, because not many people are like us, me and Jackson, and like all the classic horror, and not many people like it's hard. Like that's when I got this Vincent Price lobby card. The guy gave it to me like for cheap because he was like, I wanted like someone who's interested and younger to have it, and it might have been a selling thing. But but you know what? I took it differently. But we really do appreciate everything you do for us, especially for joining us tonight. I know your schedule's busy and you have a whole bunch of other stuff going on.
Yeah. And thank you for allowing us to be in the movie. Even Hunter's part was way bigger than mine, but I will always cherish cult member number 4.
I'm gonna say, I always told him, I was like, he's more excited than I am, and I'm pretty damn excited. So, and I can't wait to make movies, man, and you be there with me every step of the way, if you can.
I believe in you guys, and I want, I always say, like you said, a lot of people don't want to share things, they don't want to help, they don't want to talk about it, and you get this whole thing where people think there's competition, and if you're concerned about that, then you're doing something wrong, because it's not about everybody else. It's about what you're doing. It's about the art, it's about the craft. And, if you're making a good movie, it doesn't matter if guy next door is making a movie too. Like, they're going to watch it if it's good. There's no competition. Like, just because Joe Blow next door is making a movie doesn't mean you can't make one, or he's going to affect your movie. I don't get the competition thing. Like, there's a lot of people out there who do, and you're like, why does he care about what I'm doing? Like, why I've gotten where I don't even pay attention to other filmmakers around here, because I just, like, they're making their movie, best of luck. I hope it's amazing, because I like good movies. Like, I want you to make a good movie because I like watching good movies. I don't like watching bad movies. I like watching good movies. So
yeah,
if your movie's good, awesome. It's another good movie to see. And maybe I can learn from you. I want to go on other people's sets. I want to learn, because I don't know everything. I'll never, Greta Gerwig said the best thing about filmmaking is you'll never master it. And she's right. Like, even Martin Scorsese is facing a whole new challenge every time he makes a movie. And he's been doing it for 45, 50 years. Every project is a new challenge. And that's what's really cool about it. And you've got all these problems to solve, and you're finding new ways to handle material, where to put the camera, what motivates it here, how do I bring this story to the screen in an interesting way. I want to, that's the cool thing about the internet. And like when Hunter, you send me a script, you want me to read it, I can give you information that I've learned over the last 30, 40 years, and you're getting it faster than I ever got it. And that's a good thing, because you're just going to be better, faster. And it's not because I'm better or anything. It's just like, I've learned this, and I've learned it from somebody else. Like, I got the secret from somebody else, or I've learned the tricks from someone else, or I've learned from failing or by mistake or accident. And So when I watch like YouTube videos of like the artists that I worshiped when I was your age, and they're drawing at a convention, someone's filmed them and put it on YouTube. I'm like, my God, I would have murdered for that in 1994 or 1992 when I was like, all I saw was the end result. I didn't get to watch my favorite artist draw in front of me. You know, I didn't get to watch filmmakers make movies in front of me all the time because special features on DVDs and making ofs were rare. And now you can go on YouTube and see how to do anything.
That's literally my film knowledge.
Yeah.
Everything I know about it was from everything I know is from you and from YouTube. That's literally it.
Professionals do it, man. I mean, you can't be egotistical about it. Like, I've worked with guys who are seasoned, they know what they're doing, but we'll be on set and they're not afraid to pull out that phone and go, let me make sure I got this right, you know, and they'll punch in to find out information. No ego. It's not about ego. It's about, am I doing this right? Am I doing my job? And that's really what it's about. It's not about, well, I know it, I got this. Like he was somebody who gave me that book, Invisible Ink. And I went out and I bought it. As we're talking, I ordered it from Amazon. And then I read it as soon as I got it. And I told him, hey, I'm reading the book. It's amazing. And he said, you know, I've suggested that book to every filmmaker I've worked with over the last 6 years. And you're the first one to actually read it. I was like, because you were right. It's like opened my eyes. It's taught me so much just in the first few chapters I read. And I don't understand why you wouldn't want that information. Why wouldn't you want that education? You know, if someone knew how to swing a baseball bat the best way they can, you're gonna like, oh, wow, who do I talk to? I want to know what do I do? You know, if I can make my films as good as this guy over here and he's got telling me how to do it, how he does it, you better believe I want to know how he does it. I have no ego. Like, show me, teach me, show me. And you can learn from anybody. It doesn't even matter if they're you know, seasoned, or some people are just in tune or just have better ideas. Sometimes you're got so much in your head that sometimes you just can't see, you know, there. And someone pops up and goes, well, what about this? Like, yeah, you didn't even think that, you know? And that's the beauty of collaboration and art and working with other people. You know, and that's the fun of it. And that's why I like doing it. And if I can help anybody, I don't care what it is. I think my favorite thing to tell people is more, not so much the craft, but how to deal with it. Like, you have all this pressure on yourself, or you have all this concern about, well, especially now, like, oh, how many likes do I have, or how many followers do I have, or are people going to like this? Are people going to dig this? And, you know, to tell people, look, the first lesson you're going to learn is no one cares what you're doing. No one cares more than you do. And 50% of the people are going to hate it. 30% of the people are going to hate you. They've never met you, but they hate you. And a lot of it, all of that's them. It's their problem. It's not you. It has nothing to do with you. It has all to do with them. People who are unhappy with themselves try to put other people down below them. And so you're going to have people you've never met who will start a site dedicated to hating on you, you know, create fake accounts to hate on you. People who will trash your movie the moment it comes out without even seeing it, you know, like, and you just can't bother to listen to it, you know, because there's going to be people who do dig it. But the thing that only matters is that you had fun doing it and you feel like you accomplished something and you learned something, and then you keep going and you keep doing it again. So my favorite thing is to tell people, just forget all the other noise, forget all the expectations and the, you know, it's good to have goals, but your goals should be solely about you and what you're working on. And is it as good as it can be? And what can I do to make it better? And everything else is just somebody's opinion that's really more about themselves than you. And same way with like movies. Oh, the old Dark House is better. This is better. No, it depends on how you feel about it and how they like the person who made it. So that's, to me, that's the biggest hurdle, is getting past the insecurities and the anxiety you have, and really just understanding that you can do this. You don't have to be in LA. You don't, like, people who want to make movies or comics or whatever it is, it's just about doing it. And there are people out there who are doing it. You could go be a cult member for one day with a sheet over your head, and the next thing you may be directing the next movie. You never know, because you meet other people like yourself and you click with them. And that's a lot of times you work on set. That's what you do. You meet somebody you like, and you decide you want to do something. You say, "Hey, Autumn Barefoot, would you come over and work on my makeup?" Yeah. And you're off. You're running. So yeah, I'm rooting for you guys, and if I can help you, it's nothing out of my. It's not difficult. It's not difficult to help people. It's not difficult to answer an email. I've written heroes and gotten nothing back, and then I've gotten responses back from heroes, and it means the world to you. And like, it took him probably 2 minutes to do what he did, but I haven't forgot that. So why wouldn't I want to do that for other people? If it takes 2 minutes out of my day to inspire somebody to follow a dream or figure out a problem that they have, it's worth it.
Yeah, I think that was a great closing statement right there.
I was like,
yeah, that was perfect.
Man.
Thank you, though. That means a lot. Thank you for joining us and being on the channel tonight. Hopefully have you again on a future episode. Yeah, just thank you. Cannot wait for the movie.
And thanks to your dad, because your dad was someone who inspired me and pushed me and taught me a lot, showed me a lot. People who don't know, Jackson's dad was a close friend of mine when I was their age. We worked together, went to U of L together, we made comic books together. And Jason was the one who showed me a lot of the movies that you guys are watching now, and pointed me in direction of music that I still love today. And we need people like that in our lives. We need people who are sharing things with each other. And that's how these things perpetuate: music and movies and TV and comedians and books and art. We need to be sharing it with people instead of making fun of, instead of making fun of them because they haven't. Oh, you haven't seen the old Dark House? Are you an idiot? Well, you're not a real horror fan. I'm not like, you haven't seen it. Oh, you gotta see it. It's wonderful. Just go check it out. Trust me. There's the whole meanness and attitude and ego that comes with fandom. It just disgusts me. Like, no, share it, man.
I love giving out recommendations. I love it.
That's why I make those lists. People make fun of my list. I'm like, but someone may find something that they're gonna fall in love with from my list.
Literally every movie. I'm gonna say it. A lot of the movies that I love and are like in my I would consider my top 10, top 20 have come from this guy that he has told me to watch and has shown me. And legit, the first time I ever watched Nightmare on Elm Street, which is one of my favorite horror movies, which I consider my top 5, top 10, was at his house. We did a double feature. Was it that and the second one? So I love giving just to see how they react to it, because obviously, like you said earlier, people react different to different movies, and so it's just fun to see. It's like, oh, you don't like that? Oh, well, then you might type of thing. But yeah, like you said, it's it's hard finding people to talk about like this too, and that's why I love having Jackson as a friend and call him one of my best friends. Is because we have such a similar bond. And I mean, and I'm just blessed to have you in my life, because you're quintessentially, I don't want to say but kind of what I'm striving for. And it's great to have.
I'm not I'm not anywhere you can't be in 10 years, easy, or 5 years. It's like I became a filmmaker just out of luck because I was a comic book artist and the right guy saw the comic and wanted to make a movie. But I had no requirements other than being a big fan. I mean, I had been doing comics, and with comics you learn sequential storytelling and everything, but and being, composition, visuals and color and all that stuff. But if you really are determined and you're educating yourself, which you clearly got, you guys are, you're buying these movies, you're watching them, you're learning them, you're watching videos, you're watching, makings of, and you're listening to conversations with filmmakers talking about what they do. And you do that enough, you read the books, you read all that stuff, and then you surround yourself with people, and then you get out there and you just get your hands dirty and you do it. The sky's the limit. I mean, guys like, Kevin Smith sees Slacker, goes to film school, and like 1 year later, 2 years later, he's making Clerks. And that's just how it is. Like it can be that quick. So it's really just about anything like this in the arts is just about taking the swing. It's really all it is. Like I always say, you're successful from the moment you just start doing it. It's like, even if no one sees it, you guys have already made a movie. It's not easy to make a movie. So you've already made a movie. So pat yourself on the back. You've done more than some people have ever done. Like some people talk about, I always wanted to make a movie. I always thought it'd be cool to be in a movie. Well, you guys have done it, So now just keep going, next level, next level, next level. But really, it's all about getting over that anxiety of I can't do this, to I'm doing this. And, it doesn't matter how far it goes or how big it goes, but you're doing it. And to me, that there's the contentment. Like the first time we did our comic book, me and Jason and Bruce and all that, I remember I was at your parents' house. I think I was at Jason and Angie's house, and they pulled the comic out of the box. And I was standing there looking at it, my dream of making a comic book. And here I'm holding one. And I remember Angie saying, "Are you okay?"
If I could just imagine her reaction.
Yeah.
Y'all won't believe.
Yeah.
Y'all, this is awesome. I remember, like, literally, it was so stupid. But, like, I remember, so when we did The Curse of Jason, and, we were just out there having fun or whatever. But then, like, after, like, fast forward a few years later, I'm actually trying to focus and figure out things. And I remember recording and shooting and putting it together, that clip of Courtney running. Literally this, like, I thought in my head, this cool shot or whatever. And I could just see myself improving, like I was, and I was like, dang, like, even though it was just a fragment of something I thought was cool and a little bit like ideal thing, I was like, holy, that, like, I love this. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine making like a 10, 20 minute, 30, whatever film, but like, I love every little bit of it.
I've seen people make full features that weren't as good as that clip you did. That was your first thing to do. It's like, oh, he's got an eye already. He's already got the rhythm. He knows where to put the camera and how to move the camera. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to what you guys do. And that's really all it is. Like the more you do it, the more you're going to learn. But like you said, when you're doing it, oh, that was good. That looked good. This is going to work. It's going to be, because you have to be able to see that. You have to be able to do, like, I always tell you, edit, because if you know how it's going to cut together, how it's going to work, and how it's going to look and flow, you're already ahead of the game, because you know what you need, what you don't need. You know where to put the camera, where not to put the camera, and how to light it, how not to light it. And you'll just keep learning that. The more and more you do it, to the point where you'll be able to take any material and just say, all right, this is how we're going to do this. And if you're on set, there's a problem, you're like, okay, this is how we get around that, or this is how we solve that. Or, and you guys are always welcome on my sets, because I know you want to be there. And that's all I can ask for.
Yeah, well, any time, like, I'm not gonna say nothing because I almost said something, but I'm gonna keep it all low. but yeah, we love being there, and any chance we can in the future, which I'm sure, like, as when we asked you for this, I was like, I told Jackson, I was like, I know he will be on. He would love to come on here and talk with us. I was like, I'm gonna ask just because it's polite to, but I'm like, I can almost guarantee he would, because that's the kind of guy he is, and like he wants us to be a part of, but yeah, we know you're almost, I don't know, you gotta be out here. But thank you. One more last question. Are we gonna get on a Dark and Bloody Ground shirts?
A shirt. Shirt's coming. It's gotta be. Let's get a movie done.
I would love a Blu-ray. I need that Blu-ray.
We'll have a Blu-ray. That's what's so funny about making movies, because you feel guilty that things take a while, but there is a lot of, I was working all day today just coloring, and I managed, I think I put in like 4 or 5 hours, and I colored like 15 minutes of the movie or 10 minutes of the movie. And that's how long it takes to do, so it's a lot of work. I mean, and then you got everybody, when's it coming out? When's it coming out? When's the DVD coming? When's the Blu-ray? Is it going to be streaming? Is it going to be in the theaters? You got T-shirts, you got posters. Like, let me make the movie. Because you just don't know when things are going to happen and when things are coming. But the fact is, movie's coming. It's done. Like we're there.
It's soon.
A lot of films don't get filmed. Yeah, a lot of people don't finish, soon. But we're there. It's just a lot of people's schedule. You're doing things on everybody else's time too. So I can only do so much, to the point where I need somebody else to do this. And if they're not free, then I got to wait. So, and I don't mind waiting, because I've taken 6 years to make this film. So
what's another
literally, but
yeah,
that's how it's like. What do? I rush it to meet a deadline that I don't have to make? Like,
is there a deadline?
There's no. I'm not. I don't have a deadline. I want to get it done. I want it to be done, but am I going to sacrifice all this hard work because I want to just finish it, or should I take another month or two to put in as much effort and hard work as we all have all this time? And I always feel like, trust me, man, I've been here every day. If anybody wants this over, it's me, like, it's like, you were there for a day, or 2 days or 3 days, like, chill. Like, I've been every day, this thing. So, but at the same time, you just take that as their enthusiasm. I think people just really excited about, when I showed the trailer, I could see it in a lot of the actors' eyes, and what they were saying, that they were excited. Because that's what you want. You want them to say, "Oh, wow, I made the right call by working with this dude." This was worth it. It's worth the wait. And I think that's how I look at it. I don't want to ever rush stuff. Sometimes I've had to work fast. I've made movies fast because I had to, because the producer set a deadline, and it could be done. But then you go, well, if I'd had one more month, could have been just a little bit better. But when I also, like, my hero was Michael Jordan, and I want that ball at the last second. I want to hit the shot. I don't mind that pressure. I'll take that on. So, to use the sports analogy, I'll be the guy taking that last fadeaway shot. The buzzer. So.
Well,
not by ego, but just by the drive to do it.
You want it, yeah.
All right.
You want to achieve that. You want to challenge yourself for that.
Yeah. I mean, another great analogy right there. This was a lot of fun. Thank you, Nathan, for being on the channel, the stream. Soon to have you back, hopefully. Everybody, go check out On a Dark and Bloody Ground when it's released soon. Everybody, go watch it. Trailer.
I got the trailer. See Jackson. Yeah. See Jackson in a robe.
See me.
Number
see
4.
Me partially nude. If you're into that,
it's gonna be a lot of fun, and a lot of people are excited for it. And again, thank you. And with that being said, we're going to end the stream here. So peace, everybody. Thank you all for joining and being in the chat. It means a lot. Thank you for the support. Keep supporting. And we'll catch you in the next one. Again, thank you, Nathan.
Thank you, man.